We are going to be looking at some creepy videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. So, do you all remember? Well, you probably don't remember because so much is going on in the world. Something new happens almost every day. But I uploaded a couple videos about a couple weeks ago where there have been some very strange deaths happening in Portland, Oregon, Texas, and mainly in the New England area. Now, when it comes to New England and all these people passing away under bizarre circumstances, and not only that, they're also passing away in close proximity to one another, is leading the public to believe that there could be a serial criminal on the loose. In my most recent video where I had spoken about this subject, it had come out that a human leg was found not too far away from Taylor Swift's New England home. Police had counted that as the 12th victim found since March of 2025 this year. Well, there is now a 13th. Reading this article, which was published by Fox News on June 5th, Adriana Suazo becomes the 13th person to pass away under unexplained circumstances in the region since March, as authorities once again dismissed the prospects that an individual could be targeting people in this region. The theory happens to be is that police, they do not want to scare the public or alert the public that a person is on the loose in their area, ending a lot of lives. But the thing is, they are seeing on the news bodies piling up in such a short period of time in their area. So I think they are well past this point. The article continues to say, Suazo, a 21-year-old Boston resident, was found by a passerby around 11:45 a.m. on Sunday, June 1st, in Milton, Massachusetts, which is approximately 8 miles south from the capital city, according to a press release from the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. The article continues to say that the department said that there were no obvious signs of trauma and the cause of her passing is under investigation by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. Now, one could make the argument that because there is no obvious signs of trauma that we know of anyway, that maybe this was a sudden event like some kind of cardiac event, but the suspicious part happens to be that she was found in a wooded area. When it comes to most of these women that have been found, they have been found in a wooded area. But some of these cases are downright bizarre, like the one woman who was found in a suitcase. Her name was Suzanne Wormser. Police instantly pinned everything on her roommate. Her roommate was adamant it wasn't him until about the third time they interrogated him, and then he confessed to everything. But who knows what they were doing to him to get him to confess. If this was even a real confession, because what police did, they took what happened to Suzanne Wormser, went to news and media to tell the public, see, we told you, there's no one going around the New England area targeting people, because you said this same individual also targeted Suzanne Wormser. But come to find out, it was her roommate that ended her life. That was so suspicious and weird to me that the police would do that. But then, come to find out, a few days after getting this confession from her roommate also passed away under mysterious circumstances in his jail cell. I mean, you can read this right here from Fox News. On March 6, 35-year-old Paige Fannin was found deceased in the Norwalk River in Connecticut. The same day, a human skull was discovered in a wooded area near Route 3 in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Later that month, on March 19th, the remains of 58-year-old Suzanne Wormser were found in a suitcase in Groton, Connecticut. Her roommate was arrested but passed away shortly afterward in custody. And continuing with the bodies being found in woods in the New England area, Denise Leary, 59, was found deceased in New Haven on March 25th, followed a day later by 56-year-old Michelle Romano, whose remains were located in the woods in Foster, Rhode Island. I mean, what's going on here? Now we have a 13th person once again found in a wooded area. And why do I feel like police are just acting so shady when it comes to all this? And let's not forget the other individual who was found in the waters of Massachusetts. When they recovered this person, they said that nothing to see here. It was just a burial at sea. So technically, Suazo should have been the 14th person found since March, but because police do not consider this to be suspicious, and this just being a burial at sea, they are not including this person found in the waters among these other women. In just April alone, 6 people were found, and once again, police were saying nothing to see here. The Connecticut State Police did give a statement by saying, this investigation is in the early stages, remains active and ongoing, and there is no information at this time suggesting any connection to similar remains discoveries actively under investigation by CSP or other Connecticut law enforcement agencies. They go on to say that the police added there is no known threat to the public at this time. And it eerily reminds me of all the bodies found at Lady Bird Lake in Texas, and they still keep finding bodies, and police are saying there's nothing suspicious, there's no foul play, even though one of the bodies was found with their arms behind their back, tied behind their back, and had a blindfold on. They still said that that person ended themselves. Matter of fact, I do believe another person also passed away very recently at Lady Bird Lake. Reading this article from KXAN Austin 4 days ago, teen's body pulled from Lady Bird Lake, Austin Police Department, says he stood unknowingly near underwater shelf. They're saying he stood too close, he slipped, he fell in, and that there's no signs of foul play or any threat to the public. I mean, I guess that can happen. According to data obtained by Fox 7, Austin shows that at least 38 bodies have been found in or around Lady Bird Lake since 2022. The outlet reports that of those bodies found, 30 were male, and just over 60% were between the ages of 30 and 49 years old. Only 2 were teenagers, including the body discovered on Tuesday. Now, out of all 38 that were found, only 1 was determined to be a crime. All the others, including the one I mentioned, where the person had their arms bound behind their back, were either determined to be an accident or they ended themselves. But like I said, it's not just Texas or the New England area, but it's also Oregon as well, bodies keep being found. Just as recent as 18 hours ago, a body was recovered from the Willamette River near Cathedral Park, and another body of an unknown woman was found in a wooded area in Milwaukee. Now, in Oregon, just in April alone, 9 bodies were found in Portland, Oregon, and they keep racking up. And once again, police keep saying nothing to see here. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to some other videos like this supposed exorcism that happened in Florida very recently that ended an individual. But first, let's go ahead and check out this video.
Anyone else remember when that group of friends used Randonautica and it brought them to a black suitcase that had human remains inside? Randonautica is an app that became popular in 2020, and people were using it within their local area since the app will generate and send you randomized coordinates to explore. Well, in June of 2020, this group of teenagers used the Randonautica app and it brought them to an area around a West Seattle beach. One of the friends in the group filmed the entire exploration for TikTok, and at one point in their search of the area, they stumbled upon a black suitcase that appeared as if it had washed up on the rocky shore. As they unzipped it, they were excited at the possibility of finding something of value inside, like money, but they were quickly overwhelmed by a horrible stench. Inside the suitcase, they could see something wrapped in black trash bags, but instead of investigating further, they called police. When police searched the area, they also located a smaller duffel bag nearby. Both the suitcase and the duffel bag contained dismembered human remains inside. The remains were found to belong to 35-year-old Jessica Lewis and her boyfriend of 8 years, 27-year-old Austin Wenner. An autopsy would reveal that the couple had been severely beaten and shot. During an investigation into Jessica and Austin's deaths, it was revealed that the couple had been renting a room from a 62-year-old man named Michael Lee Dudley. Michael Dudley had a track record of things like SA and animal cruelty. Police believed that Austin and Jessica were unalived sometime around June 9th, which was 10 days before their bodies were discovered by that group of teenagers. On the night of June 9th, a 911 call came in from Dudley's neighbor, who reported hearing what sounded like a man pleading for his life and multiple gunshots. When police were dispatched to the residence, Michael refused to answer the door and it was never followed up on. A witness would also come forward testifying that she had moved into Michael Dudley's home the same night that the unalivings had taken place. While Michael helped her move some of her things into the home, she noticed that his glasses were broken and that he had scratches all over his body. The witness also said that later that night she had opened the door of the room she was supposed to be renting. When she did, she claimed to have seen a pile of clothing on the floor with a hand sticking out of it. Michael then told her that he needed time to clean up a mess before she could use her rented room and offered to take her somewhere else for the night. And then, before they left to find another place for her to stay, she saw Michael laying out plastic tarp on the basement floor. When she confronted him about it, he told her, quote, "Let's just put it this way, his gun misfired and mine didn't." It's believed that Michael unalived the couple over unpaid rent, and he was ultimately sentenced to 46 years in prison.
That video was by Oddities on Elm Street, and Randonautica was a crazy dangerous app. I don't know if people still use it, but random items placed by random people in random locations, and you have to go to these random locations and put the two and two together. Your safety was never guaranteed, and upon arriving to these locations, anybody could be waiting for you. There has been some nightmare stories involving Randonautica. Before we do go ahead and begin with this next story that just happened in St. Lucie County, Florida, I do want to go ahead and relay a warning that this story does involve a child. But the circumstances surrounding this case does indeed happen to be very strange.
Rhonda? Hey, you Rhonda? You Rhonda?
Yeah.
Hey, Rhonda, I'm actually here to talk to you. So, you have a 17-year-old son? Kid?
17-year-old son?
Or, oh, I'm sorry, a child.
Yes.
Yes. They haven't been to school in this whole month?
Oh, yeah. No. It's just that, I haven't sent him to school yet.
Okay. So, from what I'm being told, they haven't been in school this whole month.
341, that's all 97.
Mm-hmm.
The school is unaware of what's going on with him.
Oh, he's going to go back to school.
Okay, but at this point, it's already reached a point of truancy. It's reaching the point of truancy.
What's that?
Legal thing that, I mean, you could get in trouble for.
Oh, okay.
You pretty much have to, if you don't get in contact with the school right now to inform them of what's going on,
Okay.
they're going to send you to court.
Okay, I'll give him a call. I didn't even realize that. Okay, I'll call his teacher.
You got your ID on you?
No.
Is it inside the house?
I have a picture of it.
Yeah, can I see it?
341 or so?
341?
Yeah, you can count 31. I'm 1012 with them. Said everything's 10-4.
10-4, 10-12, 10-4.
And is your kid here right now?
Charlie, I leave work tonight.
Is your kid here right now?
10-4, Charlie.
Is my son here?
Yeah, is he here?
Yes.
Is there any way I could at least see him just to make sure that he's okay?
Sure.
Three, 5-4.
And Mike Lima.
10-4, Mike Lima.
Were you able to pull up the ID? Were you able to pull up the ID?
Yeah, hold on.
Ninety-seven. Exit 391, check 10-4.
10-1.
26.
She's just trying to pull up a picture of her ID and then gonna go inside, so we can at least.
He's in there?
That's what she said.
So the video you just saw was police talking to 41-year-old Rhonda Polanese on May 30th in St. Lucie County, Florida. Once the police enter into the home and they go into her 6-year-old son's bedroom, they found 6-year-old Ramel Pierre wrapped up in a fabric with only his face exposed. Investigators believe that he passed away on May 18th and has been in there ever since. Polanese told investigators that she hadn't been in control of her body and that God or Father told her what to do. She tried to resist, but God would make her pay, the Treasure Coast reported, citing an affidavit. She believes she was being told by God to basically exorcise demons out of the child's body, the sheriff said at the press conference. She said she ended him by placing her hand over his nose and mouth, and she would check on him daily, blowing warm air in his face, checking to see if he was still alive. The sheriff was quoted as saying she felt the child had been released of those demons and was waiting for him to basically come back. The article I'm reading from continues to say Lieutenant Andrew Belanca, a spokesperson for the sheriff's office, said in an update on June 3rd that preliminary findings do not refute the mother's account of the events. So basically what they are saying is that they do believe that in her own mind that she did believe she was performing an exorcism. The sheriff's office did say though that the investigation is not final. The medical examiner's investigation is still ongoing and additional analysis, including toxicology testing, have yet to be completed. Until the full investigation is concluded, no definite conclusions can be drawn. Reading this article, it also does say that police did go to the home the day before this happened on May 17th because apparently Paulinese was having a medical issue, and there were previous domestic incidents dating back to January involving Paulinese and her sister. Now, I don't know if police and investigators are going to go the whole mental illness route, but it definitely seems like there's a history here. But the saddest part happens to be that a 6-year-old had been ended in the worst way possible by his own mother. In this next creepy video, in my most recent video, I included a segment involving this individual right here, Thunderkeck. He explores the dark web. He came across a website where they sell sneakers and shoes covered in blood, and they also include the person's age, making one believe that the shoes or sneakers belong to a victim. He buys a pair of boots, and once they arrive, he does a test. Come to find out, they actually are covered in human substance. But along with these pair of boots, there was a videotape. He buys a VCR, and he finally plays what's on the videotape.
Okay, this is an update on the dark web shoes. I got a VCR, and I'm playing the tape. It's a little bit over an hour long, and it is very bizarre. I'll show you guys the first couple of seconds of it. I don't really know what to make a lot of it. There's definitely parts of it that I can't show on stream. I'm going through and writing down when those are, and then I'll try to not show them when we go through it. But yeah, I don't really know what to make of this thing. So I'll be live at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm actually so glad I used to P.O. box. Okay. This is an update on the dark web.
The whole thing is just very bizarre, and I've been keeping myself updated on this, and the individual behind the website and the videotape calls himself the Shoe Man, the Keeper of Souls, souls being spelled S-O-L-E-S. So these boots, like every other shoe and sneaker on this website, has a name connected to it, and that name is Waylon, age 29. People who are researching and investigating this further, they are connecting these boots to an actual Waylon that passed away, like this individual here, True Crime Talk with Sam.
When he purchased these shoes from the shoe man at Keeper of Souls, the name of these shoes were Waylon 29 years, size 13. Someone in the comment section had Googled and found this obituary for a Waylon that was 29 years old. Even though we don't know exactly what happened to this person, it does say this was a shock to all who knew him, so you can probably consider that this was an accident of some sort. But this happened back in 2018, which would go with the theory that this is some type of person that deals with people that have passed and are taking their clothing and selling it on the dark web. Considering this person is not missing or anything, if this did belong to him, that could be a possibility. Now, I'll put the link to this creator's post over on my FB page, which is where this article is from. But hopefully if these shoes do belong to this Waylon, they can get in touch with authorities and figure out what is going on. The creator that made this original video said that he should have his VCR to play this tape as of Saturday, so as soon as we have an update, I will be sure to let you know.
I told Stuart Bathwater the clip of Shiloh Hill pulling the unmarked VHS tape out of the bloodstained boots from the dark web. He just leaned forward and whispered, "Shoe Man's back." I said, "Who?" I didn't know what he was talking about. He said the Keeper of Souls, the one that trades blood for memory. I thought he was just messing with me, but then Stuart grabbed a binder from under his floorboard. Inside, a page from 1999, the VHS catalog. Circled in red ink were the words, "Shoe." Tape 3 of 7, burn if viewed. Stuart, well, he lost part of his hearing during a customs raid in Panama. Said they were looking for narcotics. They were looking for tapes filled with things that the dark web can't even label. He tapped the page twice and said, Shiloh's just a vessel. The tape already knows who it's looking for. I asked what exactly was on it. He said pain, recorded in third person, which means it wasn't from the victim's view, it's from yours. And then he said the worst part, once the tape plays, the boots ain't done walking. That's when I noticed Stuart wasn't wearing shoes, just thick wool socks, a box of matches. If you want to know more about where the shoe man's coming from, leave me a comment. I'll ask Stuart. I'll get back to some of you in the comments.
Shiloh Hill being Thunderkeck, the individual who bought the boots. Now, I don't know if this is some kind of real-life RPG, if this is some kind of promotion for something else, or if this is actually real, but looking into Thunderkeck, this is what he does. He explores the dark web and comes across obscure dark web websites. Whether this is real or fake is still downright creepy, and it kind of reminds me of one of my favorite movies, Hellraiser 5, and the fact that people are connecting these boots to an actual Waylon, age 29, who passed away shockingly, adds some realism to this story. This next video comes from Making a True Crimer, and this is absolutely wild.
For 2 days, people swam in this public pool not realizing that there was a body at the bottom. Hello, true crimers. This is another worst unusual deaths. Viewer discretion is advised. Now, the death itself was not very unusual, but the circumstances around it were very unusual. Pictured here was 36-year-old Marie Joseph. She was originally born in Haiti, but then moved to the States. She would go on to have 5 children, and she was described as a very, very lovely woman. I believe she worked in Rhode Island, but then this story takes place in Massachusetts. Specifically here at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Pool at Lafayette Park. This is a photo of Marie Joseph at that very pool on June 26, 2011. This was moments before her death. Now, if you could see, the water is very murky. It was described by people as being very milky and very, very hard to see anything just below the surface. So if something was at the bottom of that pool, no one could see it. So Marie Joseph and I believe a child that she was there with friends would both go down this slide. Apparently the child went down first, Marie went down next and landed on the child, but the child came up. Marie was seen coming up out of the water, taking a big inhale of air, and then she went back down. But then she never came back up. And this is where it gets really fucking frustrating. So 2 children who were there kind of with her, again, with friends, they went to the lifeguard and said, hey, this person we haven't seen them come up from the water. One of the lifeguards was on break and they're like, I'll check later. Another lifeguard said, okay, I will go do a check. He didn't. It was a very busy pool. A lot of people were there. Apparently Marie's friends just assumed she had gone home with a friend, but she didn't because she never resurfaced in the pool. I don't understand how the adults who were there with her didn't look for her. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Because the children said, hey, she hasn't come back up, and then no one did anything. For the next 2 days, people, including children, swam in this pool. The entire time, the body of Marie Joseph, who drowned, was at the bottom of that pool. Nobody noticed, nobody saw, because the water was, at that point, green and murky. And then a little more than 2 days later, some teenagers snuck into the pool at night and saw a body floating at the top. That's because decomposition kicked in and it caused the gases in the body to basically lift to the surface. And it was the body of Marie Joseph. The autopsy showed that she drowned. The investigation started then. They discovered that the pool had been closed until summer, and when the employees got there to fill the pool, the bottom was full of dirt, leaves, and just a lot of yuck. And instead of cleaning it out, they just filled the pool. They assumed the filters would basically take care of the mess. The filters were broken. They didn't take care of anything. The water became milky, a greenish color, but the employees, they just didn't do anything. They didn't seem to care. You know, they're supposed to do checks of the bottom of the water when people are in it every 15, 30 minutes or so. They didn't do that either. They even found out that a city health inspector inspected the pool as it was and approved it. The water was unsafe for people to be in it, but several employees of the city said, nah, it's good. And people swam in it. And then a woman drowned in it, and it was so murky that nobody could see that there was a body in the pool just below the feet of kids swimming. The pool, by the way, where she had drowned was at 12 feet. So, I believe 4 people were fired. I think 2 people were given criminal charges in order to pay a hefty amount of fines. And then her family was given a settlement, but that amount has not been disclosed. They would go on to completely destroy the pool and rebuild it. And now the deepest part of the pool is at 5 feet 6 inches. And now employees are required, mandated, to do checks of the pool every 15 minutes to make sure they could see the bottom. How she drowned is kind of a mystery. Her friend said she knew how to swim, so no one really knows how exactly she drowned, but she did. But if the employees actually took care of that pool, they might have actually been able to see her drowning, and they might have actually been able to save her life. That's basically negligent homicide, in my opinion. Involuntary manslaughter, I don't know, but Maria Joseph did not deserve to go out this way.
What I find bizarre, besides the fact that the lifeguards did not show any urgency whatsoever, is that the group of people that she went with to this pool did not look for her, did not even bother noticing that she was missing for quite some time. That people were swimming in this pool until it turned murky green and nobody knew anything or decided to take any action until her body actually appeared. I feel like there's something more to this story.
This is one case that still haunts me. The story of the disappearance of Jason Jolkowski is one of the weirdest things that you'll ever read about, and it's haunting because to this day, this mystery has never been solved. So let's take a look at it. So this is Jason Jolkowski. He was born in 1981 and lived in Omaha, Nebraska all his life. And this story takes place in 2001. So on Wednesday, June 13th, 2001, Jason was called into work early. So initially, Jason planned on walking to his job, which was 4 miles away, due to the fact that his car was in a repair shop that day. But he eventually made plans for a friend to meet him at a high school that was nearby. So this high school, Benson High School in Omaha, Nebraska, was only half a mile from Jason's house. Literally an 8-block walk, and that's where his friend was supposed to meet him. So just take a look at this photo. This is the exact route that Jason was going to take to the high school. It's only a 10-minute walk, and keep in mind, he was about to make this walk in the middle of the morning in broad daylight. In a city like Omaha, Nebraska, where crimes like disappearances don't really happen all that frequently. So at 10:45 a.m. that morning, a neighbor saw Jason helping his younger brother with the trash outside of his home. And at some point right after that, he left to go on this walk to go meet his friend. And during this walk, Jason vanished off the face of the earth. So to this day, no trace of Jason has ever been found. There were no remains ever recovered. Nobody has seen anybody that's ever looked like Jason. Nobody reported seeing somebody being abducted on the day that he went missing. Nobody even reported seeing anything out of the ordinary. It's as if he simply vanished literally into thin air. They even checked the security camera footage from the school that he was supposed to be walking to that day, and the security camera videos showed that Jason never arrived. It was somewhere on that half-a-mile walk when he vanished. Now, Jason's parents have suggested that they believe he may have been abducted and killed, but with no body ever having been found, that theory is just really hard to prove. And yeah, it's been over 20 years since this happened, and no trace of Jason has ever been found. That's why it's a case that will haunt me. I mean, it's just scary to think that you can be making a half-a-mile walk in the middle of the day, in the middle of your city, and go missing, and no one will ever even find a piece of your clothing.
That video was from the Paranormal Files on TikTok, and it's so true. It's very scary how people can just suddenly vanish into thin air, and you can't even find even a trace of their clothing. And that does happen quite often. This case eerily reminds me of Brian Schaefer, Lars Matank, among many others who again just suddenly vanished and have never been seen again. Even though it's been many years, hopefully one day these families do get some kind of closure. But I do want to go ahead and thank you all so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.